But Al-Minaji, can you do me a favor? Anybody that's an Arabic speaker, please kindly read the book and please verify this claim that Muhammad Rafid made,
The
so we
source
can move
open
on.
in front of me, so someone else can do that. But
Please be kind to each other, please.
I did quote in the chat As-Suddi Al-Kalbi, both saying or making that claim. So more than likely, if there's anyone doing tafsir, they're probably going to be quoting that. Again, Muhammad Rafid might be truthful that Ibn Taymiyyah actually did say it in that way. I don't have the reference in front of me. I did share a link.
I shared the link on the chat. You can check it if
Yes, and
Amir
I
can
did
actually
too, but
pin the link.
I did
And
too, but I'm trying.
even you've done very well by mentioning as-Suddi, because Ibn Taymiyyah also mentions as-Suddi. So as-Suddi and another person whom Ibn Taymiyyah quotes, in addition to the hadith that the Prophet was in the religion of his people for 40 years, meaning that he was a Mushrik kafir for 40 years before the revelation. Ibn Taymiyyah made those quotations. So you mentioned as-Suddi. As-Suddi is one of those people even Ibn Taymiyyah uses in order to buttress his position. In addition with the hadith that is found in Tabari and Musnad Ahmad, that كان النبي على دين قومه 40 سنة. The Prophet was on the religion of his people, that's Quraysh, for 40 years. So I'm happy, you mentioned as-Suddi. So I'm not making this up.
Yeah, let me just finish what I was saying, and then I can go back to the audience. So more than likely you're going to have random people throughout history that would utilize, like some of what Muhammad Rafid mentioned, to argue for that. However, the majority, and if you see Mujahid's wording, Imam al-Razi quotes it in his tafsir, and he points out that he's not really agreeing with the Suddi and the Kalbi. And basically what he's saying is that the Prophet ﷺ did not know the true religion for 40 years, meaning that he wasn't aware of it, or he didn't receive revelation yet, not that he was upon kufr. And the majority of the ulama of Islam say that he was never upon kufr, not even for a moment. But not knowing the true religion does not mean that you're upon kufr. It just means you haven't received the guidance as of yet. I don't have the book of Ibn Taymiyyah open in front of me. I have not downloaded it, but I was just sharing that when it comes to this mas'ala.
Al-Minaji, so I pinned it to the top. It's just like a couple, few lines if you mind reading it.
Do you have the actual page? Let me see.
Actually,
That's at the top right there. I pinned it, what Muhammad Rafid said.
Yeah, he has to read from 180 to 189. So you start from 180, but they are very short. They are not like the sentences are not long. They are not even paragraphs, because most of the page is like footnote. So you read from 180 to 189, and it won't take you more than 3 minutes. And you can translate also.
It opened up to 186.
Yeah, but you can change the page number to 180. Yeah, and also, of course, I'm not accusing like Fakhruddin or Razi or, like other scholars. I'm talking specifically here of Ibn Taymiyyah and his likes.
تمام. Okay, I'm just going to read this real quick for you, Amir. قال وقد اختلف الناس في جواز وقوع الذنوب منهم, and people differed on whether or not sins can be committed by them. فقالت المعتزلة إنه لا يجوز وقوع الكبائر من المعاصي منهم كالكفر فما دونه لا قبل النبوة ولا بعدها. That the Mu'tazila, I got a call. He said that the Mu'tazila said that the major sins, like kufr and things beneath it that are still categorized as major sins, cannot happen from prophets before the nubuwwah, before they become prophets, or afterwards. He said, لِكَوْنِ ذَلِكَ مُنَفِّرًا عَنْ طَاعَتِهِمْ وَالْقُبُولُ مِنْهُمْ. So as you can see, it's a very aqli, rational argument that a prophet, but everyone agrees. Stupid people keep on calling me. Anyway, that everyone agrees that a prophet, from one of the conditions of prophecy, that the individual is accepted by the masses. So them being kuffar or committing kufr would be a reason to stay away from them. So the Mu'tazila argue from a rational standpoint that they could not be in kufr or have any of the major sins. ومفسدا عند بعضهم لدلالة الإعلام, because there should be signs of God, so they can be upon the opposite thing. وما يقتضيه التحمل والبلاغ عن الله فلا يجوز أن يكون النبي قبل بعثته إلا على التمسك بالفرائض العقلية. So rationally speaking, a prophet before he receives revelation should be upon that which is rationally good, rationally acceptable of him, يعني in order for him to maintain a certain image before and after prophecy. والعمل الصالح والتدين بشريعة نبي قبله. That's some of the Mu'tazila, that's why he says بعض, that he needs to be maintaining the laws of a previous prophet. Let me flip the page here. قلت I wonder he was saying قال, who he was referring to, because might need to go further. So apparently he was quoting someone. I don't know who he was quoting. وكان أهل الكفر قبل النبوة. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. He says كما قال ذلك, he said that many of Ahl Sunnah say that prophets are free from kufr before nubuwwah, before they become prophets. And he quotes Ibn al-Anbari والزجاج وابن عطية وابن الجوزي والبغوي. البغوي المفسر. He says قال البغوي وأهل الأصول على أن الأنبياء كانوا مؤمنين قبل الوحي، وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعبد الله قبل الوحي على دين إبراهيم ولم تبين له شرائع دينه. يعني الإمام البغوي says أهل الأصول, and I assume he means like أصول الدين, like علم الكلام and so on, that the prophets were believers before they received revelation, and that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam worshipped Allah before he received revelation. He was upon the way or upon the deen of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. قلت, so this is Ibn Taymiyyah speaking, وقوله هذا يناقض ما ذكره في قوله ووجدك ضالا فهدى. He's saying that what al-Baghawi said here opposes what al-Baghawi said in the tafsir of ووجدك ضالا فهدى. He said, meaning Ibn Taymiyyah saying al-Baghawi said, ومعنى الآية وجدك ضالا عما أنت عليه اليوم, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has he found you lost in comparison to what you are upon today. فهداك لتوحيده والنبوة. But is it necessarily, I think Ibn Taymiyyah is misreading al-Baghawi, because I could understand al-Baghawi as him just simply saying he's not upon this way.
Minhaj, just to clarify, so what Ibn Taymiyyah is saying here is Baghawi contradicts the understanding of the ayah وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. So in other words,
no, he's saying that Baghawi is contradicting himself. That al-Baghawi said
no, he's saying it. He contradicts the ayah وَوَجَدَكَ, because al-Baghawi is saying that the prophets are ma'sumun.
No, al-Baghawi said قال أهل الأصول, that the theologians basically said X. Then Ibn Taymiyyah said, well, wait a minute, but al-Baghawi himself says in وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى says something else. So he's saying al-Baghawi is almost contradicting himself by this, but I don't see it as a contradiction.
So in other words, what Ibn Taymiyyah is promoting here is that what al-Baghawi is quoting from for Ahl al-Usul is that the Prophet are ma'sumun, that this is not correct in light of the understanding of the ayah وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that al-Baghawi is contradicting himself, and his own words are contradictory. That's what he's arguing.
So let me read for you. قال البغوي وأهل الأصول على أن الأنبياء كانوا مؤمنين قبل الوحي. البغوي said that the أهل الأصول وأهل الأصول and the أهل الأصول, that the Anbiya, the Prophet, كانوا مؤمنين قبل الوحي, that the prophets, they were believers before the revelation. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يعبد الله قبل الوحي على دين إبراهيم ولم تبين له شرائع دينه, that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, he used to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before the wahi on the religion of Ibrahim, before the rules or the laws of Islam were given to him. Then he said وَقُلْت, or he said قُلْت, he said I say, وَقَوْلُهُ هَذَا وقوله هذا, that's Baghawi, يناقض, contradicts ما ذكره في قوله,
نعم ما
what
ذكره.
he has mentioned about his
Yes, so
statement.
he's saying Baghawi is
نعم.
contradicting himself.
ووجدك ضالا فهدى. So in other words, what Baghawi has said, that prophets do not make mistakes, do not commit kufr. So this actually contradicts what he has said about ووجدك ضالا فهدى. So
Yeah,
please
he's saying
carry,
that Baghawi himself is contradicting himself.
please just carry on.
Yes. So he's only saying here Al-Baghawi contradicted himself, because now Al-Baghawi is mentioning both opinions in his tafsir that would contradict one another. That's all he's saying so far. That's why he says, let me see, let me go to the next page, 182. He says, فجعل, meaning Al-Baghawi, التوحيد مما كان ضالا عنه فهداه إليه. He's saying Al-Baghawi, he made Tawheed as one of the things that the Prophet ﷺ was lost from until Allah guided him. So he's saying Al-Baghawi is contradicting himself. He says, وأيضا فقوله تعالى ما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان يناقض هذا. Now this is, this right here would be Ibn Taymiyyah saying what Al-Baghawi said first would be contradicting an understanding. So this one is per how you were understanding. He's saying it now in the second line. He says, وَقَدْ رُوِيَ عَنْ أَحْمَدْ أَنَّهُ قال من قال إنه كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على دين قومه فهو قول سوء. He's saying that, and it was narrated. And I wonder if this is in Baghawi too, because he doesn't specify. From Imam Ahmad, that whoever said that the Prophet ﷺ was upon the religion of his people, then that is a bad or an evil statement. He says, ولكن قد قال السدي وغيره كان على دين قومه. He's saying, but السدي and others said he was upon the religion of his people 40 سنة, 40 years. Now this is Ibn Taymiyyah's words. وقد روى ابن أبي حاتم قال حدثني عبد الله بن أبي بكر. Sorry, changing pages. عن عثمان ابن أبي سليمان بن جبير بن مطعم عن عمه نافع بن جبير عن أبيه جبير بن مطعم قال لقد رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو على دين قومه وهو واقف على بعير له بعرفات بين قومه يدفع الناس توفيقا. Let me scroll the page again. من الله.
Sorry, can you interpret that? Can you translate that? The page 100 and page 184.
نعم.
The hadith he mentioned from Ibn
Jubayr
Jubair.
Is saying, I saw the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he was upon.
No, Minhaji. You actually you're not quoting everything. Okay.
You want me to quote the chain?
Yes, everything. Go to page 1. It starts from page 183 where he says cult. Okay, cult. That's Ibn Taymiyyah said cult. I say, وَقَدْ رُوِيَ Ibn Abi Hatim.
Yeah,
Ibn
I already translated all of that.
Yeah, please, let me just read this. Ibn Taymiyyah said, cult. وَقَدْ رُوِيَ Ibn Abi Hatim. Ibn Abi Hatim has reported, حدثني Abdullah bin Abi Bakr. Abdullah bin Abi Bakr narrated. Then page 184. عن عثمان بن أبي سليمان بن جبير بن مطعم. From Uthman bin Abi Sulaiman bin Jubair bin Mut'im. عن عمه نافع bin Jubair, from his uncle نافع bin Jubair bin Mut'im. عن أبيه, from his father Jubair bin Mut'im. قال, he said, لقد رأيت. And by the way, Jubair bin Mut'im was a Sahabi, and he was the one that Aisha was betrothed to him, and then Abu Bakr had to dissolve the marriage with Jubair in order for the Prophet to marry her. So Jubair bin Mut'im was a Sahabi. Jubair bin Mut'im said, لقد رأيت رسول الله. I saw Rasulullah. وهو على دين قومه. He was upon the religion of his people. وهو واقف على بعير له. And he was actually on a camel. له بعرفات, in Arafat. بين قومه, among his people. يدفع الناس توفيقا. He is like, I think he is urging people. He is leading people or something like that. So he was actually carrying out a religious practice, apparently. Okay, من الله له وقد رواه أحمد من طريق ابن إسحاق ابن إسحاق
وروى. Are you gonna finish? يعني if you're gonna
no,
read
go. You can go ahead. Yeah. So just to clarify the hadith.
You just stopped me and I was trying to translate it.
تفضل.
طيب ما خلاص يعني يعني anyway he says وقد, and it was narrated by Imam Ahmad from طريق ابن إسحاق به ورواه من طريق سفيان, meaning also Ahmad, from his father, and he did not say that he was upon, meaning the Prophet ﷺ was upon the religion of his people. He says وَالْمَقْصُودُ.
Did you say he did not say? Did you say he did not say?
Says that Ahmad also narrated from Sufyan, from his father, and in it did not say, in that version of that same narration, it did not say that he was upon the religion of his people. وَلَمْ يَقُلْ عَلَى دِينِ قَوْمِهِ.
Where is that? Where is that?
Page 185.
Okay. وقد رواه من طريق ابن إسحاق به ورواه أيضا من طريق سفيان عن أبيه ولم يقل. نعم. So there is a version of the hadith that does not contain على دين قومه. نعم. Continue.
والمقصود أن هذا النزاع في وقوع الذنوب منهم قبل النبوة. And what is intended by this discussion is them sinning before they become prophets. Let me flip the page. Oh, wait a minute. Why does it say? Hold on. Let me go back. ليس هو قول المعتزلة فقط بل هو بين أصحاب الحديث وأهل السنة, meaning أصحاب الحديث and أهل السنة believe this as well. يعني them not sinning before the نبوة. قال أبو بكر بن الطيب وقال كثير منهم ومن أصحابنا وأهل الحق إنه لا تمتنع بعثة من كان كافرا أو مصيبا للكبائر قبل بعثته. There's no basically rational argument.
No. That's not the complete statement, Minhaji.
I'm not done. I'm still translating. You're cutting me off.
Yeah. It starts from Qala Abu Bakr bin al-Tayyib.
Yes, I know. Okay, let me finish translating. So he's quoting, okay, Abu Bakr ibn al-Tayyib. He says, and many have said from our ashab wa ahl al-haq, which is usually a term used for the Asha'ira. Okay, he says that it is not meaning rational. That's when they speak about imtina', that a person who was a kafir or a person that commits major sins, that he
No. Minhaji.
Yes.
Minhaji. That's a mistranslation. Okay. Let me read it. He said,
go ahead.
قال أبو بكر بن الطيب. Abu Bakr bin al-Tayyib said, وقال كثير منهم ومن أصحابنا وأهل الحق. And many of them, okay, check the footnote, أي المعتزلة من أصحابنا وأهل الحق, and from the معتزلة and the أهل الحق. إنه
ومن أصحابنا.
Okay.
ومن أصحابنا.
نعم. ومن أصحابنا وأهل الحق, whatever that means. إنه whoever they may be. Ibn Taymiyyah is speaking here. He's quoting. إنه لا تمتنع. Okay. It means it is not impermissible.
Impossible. Yes.
نعم.
It means it's not rationally impossible.
نعم. So it is not impossible. لا تمتنع.
Rationally. You have to say rationally.
نعم. لا تمتنع. There is no prohibition. There is no prohibition.
Rational prohibition.
Whatever.
No.
There is no.
It's because
okay. إنه لا تمتنع. إنه لا تمتنع. There is no rational prohibition. بعثة من كان كافرا أو مصيبا للكبائر قبل بعثته. So it is not, let me use the translation of Minhaji, it is not rationally impossible that someone who was a kafir and he commits the kaba'ir, the major sins, it is not rationally impossible for him to what?
To receive revelation and become
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Naam. And this, in the context of this statement, is actually, trying to say that, discussing the Prophet kana ala dini qawmihi qabla 40 sana, that the Prophet was upon the religion of his forefathers or upon his nation for 40 years. So he's quoting this statement about certain people who have said it is not rationally impossible to say that someone who committed the kaba'ir like shirk and killing, etc., or adultery, etc., it is not rationally impossible for him to actually become a prophet. Okay. قال لا ولا شيء عندنا. Listen to this. Allah يخليك, Allah يخليك. Please. Just a moment. One moment. Please.
Right now,
I will hand over the mic to you.
Chance to respond,
I will hand.
Guys, 1 second at a time, man. Please.
Abu Cholo, just a minute.
Second.
Abu Cholo, let me just continue reading. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, so Qala, this is Ibn Taymiyyah, say what he says. Qala, ولا شيء عندنا يمنع من ذلك على ما نبين القول فيه. He said, Qala, there is nothing.
That's still the same person. It's still Abu Tayyib.
Naam. He said, this person he's quoting, Qala Abu Bakr bin al-Tayyib, ولا شيء عندنا يمنع من ذلك. There is nothing that we have that prohibits على ما نبين القول فيه, what we have already clarified our statement upon it. Then please continue. Go ahead.
Okay, right now, before we go ahead, you have to understand something. First of all, Abu Bakr ibn al-Tayyib, what is he actually saying? He's saying aqlan, meaning that's a hypothetical, theoretically, not that it has actually happened. He's saying that there's no mana aqlan from that. Aside from Ibn Taymiyyah, what Ibn Taymiyyah wants to say, the fact of the matter is Abu Tayyib
just before you conclude, Minhaji, just please read till page 189, and then inshallah you can give your conclusion.
It's not a conclusion. I'm just clarifying what Ibn Tayyib said. Because Ibn Tayyib, هو من رجال أهل السنة.
No, so he doesn't rule out, that a prophet of Allah was a kafir, mushrik, and he was committing kaba'ir, and then Allah makes him a prophet. It's not ruled out. No problem. Continue.
No, Ibn Tayyib, he's not talking about that, about the Prophet ﷺ to begin with.
No problem. Just continue. Just continue reading.
Well, you can continue reading because I have to go in and grab something right now.
Okay, no problem. You can stay here, so in case anybody is doubting my translation. So then he goes on. He quoted. He said, "واختلفوا في إصابة الذنوب منهم بعد البعث." He said there is difference about him committing sin, a prophet committing sin after he had been given the revelation. Then he goes on, he said, فَقَالَتِ الرَّافِضَةِ, said the Rafida, the Shias, they said, وَمَنْ تَابَعَهُمْ, and those who follow them, لَا يَجُوزُ ذَلِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ. That is not possible for prophets to be, it is not possible for prophets to be kuffar, committing major sins or being mushrikun. لا يجوز ذلك عليهم في صغائر الذنوب, page 187. Whether in the minor sins, وكبائرها, or in the major sins, ولا يجوز عليهم السهو. The prophets cannot be forgetful. والغلط في البلاغ ولا في غيره, and they cannot commit mistakes, whether in the revelation, delivering the revelation, or otherwise. وقالت المعتزلة يجوز وقوع صغائر الذنوب منهم في حال الرسالة. That it is possible for them, for the Mu'tazili are saying, he's quoting now the Mu'tazili, that they said it is possible for them to actually, for the prophets to commit minor sins when they have received the risala, the message, اعتمادا مع العلم بخطرها وقبحها. That it's possible when they have the knowledge about its dangers and its ugliness or its evil. Okay? Then ولا يجوز أن يقعوا منهم الكبير من المعاصي, but the greater sins. It cannot come from the prophets. ولا الصغائر المستقبحة المصغرة لشأن فاعليها. That it's not also possible for them to commit minor sins, which can belittle the prophets. وقال فريق منهم لا يجوز وقوع الذنوب منهم على القصد إليها والعلم بقبحها وتحريمها. That it's not possible for sins to be committed by the prophet when they have the knowledge about its prohibition and its ugliness. Okay, then he goes on to say وإنما يقع منهم على جهة الخطأ في التأويل, that in the way of mistakes in interpretation, this can actually occur from them. وهذا قول الجباعي وكثير من سلفهم, and this is the word of al-Juba'i, who was a known Mu'tazili scholar, and many of his predecessors. Then we go to page 188. وقال النظام وجعفر بن بسران ذنوبهم إنما تقع على وجه السهو. He quoted the name of two people here, I believe scholars, that sins can actually happen from the Prophet by forgetfulness. وأنهم مع ذلك يؤاخذون بها وإن وقعت كذلك وإن كان ذلك مرفوعا عن what is this? Sorry, this is actually a scan, so this word is not very clear. ومغفورا لهم لأجر معرفتهم بالله وبدينهم أقوى ودلائله. That, if they commit, these minor sins, they can be forgiven and all that. وهم على التدقيق. This, he's still quoting the Mu'tazili. Then he goes on, he said, قال وقال أهل الحق. The أهل الحق said, والجمهور من الناس وأصحاب الحديث إنه يجوز وقوع الذنوب منهم في حال نبوتهم إلا ذنوبا في حال ما يفسد البلاغ عن الله. That it's possible, the Ahlul Haq, I believe Minhaji said, the Ash'ira, they said that it's possible, for sins to come from them, except if it actually affects the message or it corrupts the message which they are delivering from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَقْدِحُ فِي دَلَالَةِ الْآيَاتِ الطَّاهِرَةِ عَلَيْهِمْ. And it makes, unbefitting for the verses, the apparent verses that they are delivering to the people. Then you go to page 189. He said, أجمعت الأمة أنها لا تقع منهم مثل ذنوب تقدح في أعلامهم وصحة نبوتهم وتشكك في صدقهم. That the Ahlul Haq have said, the dhunub that come from them, whereby people will actually doubt them, this is not possible. وأنه ليس في معاصي الله صغائر تقع محبطة لا يستحق الذم والعقاب عليها. That it is also, when you commit صغائر, they can actually commit صغائر that will not be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بل كل ما يعصي الله به فهو أكبر من جميع المعاصي. Then he said, قال وقال كثير من أهل الحق لابد مع مواقعتهم لها أنهم واقعوها من خوف شديد وحذر وإعظام لها وتعقيبا بالتوبة والندم. That they can actually, become repentant. وهذا هو المختار عندنا. The prophets can become repentant. قال وقال الجمهور من أهل الحق إنه لا يجب القطع على مواقعتها. That it's not possible for us to actually draw a conclusion that these sins can actually not happen. Okay. Then he goes on to say, ثم قال, I think it's very long. So what I'm pointing out, if you go to page 100 and where he said cult. So Ibn Taymiyyah does not rule out the Prophet actually committing sins, and that's why he was actually quoting the hadith from Ahmad and Tabari. Sorry, it's 183. He said, قلت وروي ابن أبي حاتم حدثني, then this place عن عثمان, then he quoted the hadith of Ibn Jubair, that he saw the Prophet ﷺ in Arafah, and he was upon the religion of his people. So I hope I did not lie over here as Dr. N or whatever his name was trying to.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really bring anything new because we already know that Ibn Taymiyyah believes that the Isma is متعلقة بالتبليغ. So it's not really anything new.
Anyways, we're gonna have to read up into the book. But I think so. Al-Minhaji, he was just he didn't really say what he mentioned in the book. Is that what I'm hearing? I just he said, she said thing.
Well, it's a long discussion. I think it's better and easier just to go to Ibn Taymiyyah's Fatawa, where he literally just says that the Isma, he says it's from Kaba'ir, not Saghair, and it's متعلقة بما يبلغ. يعني his Isma is contingent upon that which he is ordered to reveal. But everyone knows that that's Ibn Taymiyyah's opinion. يعني.
So you're saying that he did not have a religion for the first 40 years or something? Is that, I mean, do
I'm
we,
sorry, say it again.
like what Muhammad Rafid made a claim, right, that he didn't have a religion for 40 years or something, right?
Well, Ibn Taymiyyah doesn't necessarily say that. He does quote people saying that, sure, but he doesn't come out and actually say that.
But he said
Oh, he
cult.
doesn't say it himself.
He said cult. He said cult. Where he said cult, and he quoted the hadith of Ibn Jubair. What was he implying?
Yes, I already said. Did you hear what I said, Muhammad? That we already know that Ibn Taymiyyah says that the isma of the Prophet ﷺ متعلقة بالتبليغ, with what he is supposed to be delivering, nothing else.
So what he's presenting here is the what? Is the hadith that
He's
the Prophet
presenting
was
all
upon the
different
religion?
He's presenting all of the opinions in the papers that you're presenting. He's presenting all the different opinions that are out there.
So why did he say cult? Why is he adopting the hadith?
That's not an adoption. If I say قلت وروى أحمد and Ahmad has narrated, that's me showing that he's breaking from quoting Fulan and now he's
Minhaj, when he's saying cult,
yes.
It means what? This is my saying.
No,
okay.
No, that's not what cult always means. No,
it means I say. It means I say. This is what it means.
No. I say, and Ahmed has narrated. That's still him quoting someone else now.
Listen. If I want to say, Minhaji said, okay, I wouldn't say I say if I don't believe or I'm not adopting what you're saying.
Okay, and?
Yeah, so which means the position of Ibn Taymiyyah, where he said, I think in page 183.
None of that is his position, because none of that is actually what he says.
Right no. For example, when he's mentioned in the Mu'tazili and he's mentioned the Rafida and
he's
their position,
everyone's opinion.
Yeah, but he didn't say in those instances. He didn't say cult. He didn't say I say.
Yes, know why?
When he said cult,
the ending of the quote of the previous.
No, quote. It's not the ending, because after he mentioned those statements of Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib and As-Suddi and the likes. Okay, when he mentioned, anyway, this is even not a problem. Even if you want to absolve, you want to absolve Ibn Taymiyyah, there are certain scholars.
I already told him. I already said what
even for argument's sake,
it was easier for you to go to his fatwa where he just bluntly says what he believes.
No, what my initial claim was very simple. There are certain scholars among the Ahlul Sunnah who actually say the Prophet was upon the religion of his people for 40 years. This is what they say. Now, if you want to, for argument's sake, I don't want us to argue for argument's sake that this is actually the position, the adopted position of Ibn Taymiyyah is the position of As-Suddi and Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib. At least, he has presented two scholars. So my case still stands that there are actually certain scholars among Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah who actually hold to the position that the Prophet was upon the religion of his qawm for 40 years. In other words, he was a mushrik kafir. Well, astaghfirullah.
Well, Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib did not say that. He said aqlan. And Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib, you know who that is, right?
Look.
Do you know who Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib is?
No, I don't know.
That's al-Baqillani.
Okay. Okay, so you see here, okay? Like, for example, where he said, cult, cult. He's saying cult, waruya, Ibn Abi Hatim. Then he mentions what? The hadith of Ibn Jubair. Okay, he mentions about the Prophet, being seen in Arafah and all that worshiping with his people. وقد رواه أحمد والمقصود أن هذا النزاع في وقوع الذنوب منها قبل النبوة ليس هو قول المعتزلة فقط. Okay, what did he say here? He said, والمقصود. This is Ibn Taymiyyah speaking. He said, والمقصود. He said, what is meant? He's explaining here. He said, والمقصود. What is meant? أن هذا النزاع, that this dispute, في وقوع الذنوب منهم, for there to be sins from them before the revelation, ليس هو قول المعتزلة فقط. It's not the statement of the Mu'tazila only. بل هو بين أصحاب الحديث وأهل السنة. This is also among the Ahl al-Hadith and Ahl al-Sunnah. So, in other words, Ibn Taymiyyah is adopting the position that before the Nubuwwah, for there to be sins from the Prophet is possible. Okay, it's possible, and this is not the statement of the Mu'tazila. And then what is he doing? He's buttressing his position. Okay, the mere fact that he's quoting a hadith from a Sahabi that the Prophet was upon the deen of his people for 40 years and he was worshipping with them, and then he's actually promoting the idea that, you know what, it is not only a certain people that actually adopt this position. It means he's actually promoting this. He's telling you cult. He's saying, I say. Ibn Taymiyyah is promoting this position here. Then he quotes Abu Bakr, this page 186. إنه لا تمتنع بعثة من كان كافرا أو مصيبا للكبائر قبل بعثته. That it's not impermissible for someone who was a kafir and who used to commit the kaba'ir before he was sent to become a prophet. And then قال ولا شيء عندنا يمنع من ذلك على ما نبين القول فيه. That there is nothing that we have, he's quoting still Abu Bakr bin Tayyib, there is nothing that we have that prohibits this statement that we have been saying, that prophets can actually commit the major sins. They can be kuffar mushrikun. This is what Ibn Taymiyyah is providing. The thing is, actually somebody is actually, Asim, there's somebody in the chat, Asim, he's saying Minhaji is trying to prove that if someone says I say, then it doesn't mean I say. So Ibn Taymiyyah said I say, and Minhaji is saying, well, no, it's not Ibn Taymiyyah saying. Ibn Taymiyyah is telling you I say. Yeah, he's saying I say. So if he's saying I say, it means this is his adopted position. You observe that when he mentioned the Mu'tazila and he mentioned the position of the Rafida, some of the Mu'tazila that do not agree, because the Mu'tazila apparently from what he presented, they are divided, they have different views. So when he presented, certain Mu'tazila or the Mu'tazila generally that he doesn't agree with, he doesn't say I say. When he presents the position of the Rafida, he doesn't say I say. When he says I say, he quotes the hadith from Ibn Abi Hatim, from Ibn Jubair, that the Prophet was on the religion of his people for 40 years. And this hadith is in the books of, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He said, I say. Then he goes on to quote Abu Bakr ibn Tayyib. I don't know, some As-Suddi, he mentions also As-Suddi about, the prophets committing sins, major sins. Of course, this is very bad. We, alhamdulillah, that he actually, Ibn Taymiyyah mentions the Rafida, and he says he actually absolves the Rafida. He said they don't believe that the prophets can commit major or minor sins, either before the Ba'atha, before the revelation, or even after. We do not, the Rafida do not believe in this. Brother Amir, so I hope I've been vindicated. I hope
Yeah.
I did not lie. Did I lie, Amir?
I don't know. I haven't looked into the Ibn Taymiyyah book. It was a conversation happening between you because I'm doing something in the background, you know.
Oh, you're doing something. Oh,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. It was just a conversation between you and Al Minhaji. I wanted to understand because I can't understand where because Al Minhaji has a point as well, you know, that he didn't say it. He just quoted people. So
Okay, so fine, so no problem. Even if you want to, for argument's sake, I want to do tanazul. I want to give up and say, well, it's Ibn Taymiyyah. He's the referee in what he's mentioning. He's just giving you the different positions. Still, there are certain scholars like Abu Bakr ibn al-Tayyib as-Suddi. They actually, they hold this position that the Prophet was on the deen of his people for 40 years. يعني he was a mush astaghfir Allah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Of course, I'm not accusing all the scholars of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I'm not doing this. I'm telling you, there are specific scholars. I'm telling you, Ibn Taymiyyah is one of them. He quoted Abu Bakr ibn al-Tayyib. He said, Qult. He said, I say. I'm telling you, As-Suddi. There are certain names. So, earlier on when, I think somebody, I don't know if it was Sister Nergis, she mentioned that the Quranist, they actually accused the Prophet of being, a mushrik or committing shirk before he was sent. She was condemning the Quranists. I said, well, I know that in this book, Ibn Taymiyyah actually discusses this. تفسير آيات أشكلت على كثير من العلماء. Ibn Taymiyyah mentions this. So this is a musiba. It's a catastrophe.
no, I hear you. A lot of scholars, they've been through. So there's been some things that we look into the history. I mean, just like Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab,
But
so there's a
yeah,
lot of history there.
so Alhamdulillah, I think somehow, if you see, like, at some point, I had to insist Menhaji not to leave certain parts, he was reading, because you see, like, there is this, this propensity, kind of, this inclination to actually, let's not make the Rafidi appear truthful in what he's saying. Let's make him look like, it's not clear. And this is exactly what you yourself, Amir, is doing.